Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Lauren, and today I will be guiding you through a gentle yoga practice. And we're going to shift our focus a little bit. Typically, when I write a yoga sequence, I pick a body part or a region of the body and really spend a lot of time in the sequence, giving a lot of attention to that space, right? That's generally how I come up with a sequence. It's mostly anatomy based, right? So we're gonna change that a little bit. We're gonna kind of take a detour for a little bit, especially with the gentle sequences. So we're gonna focus on the chakras. And so chakras are your energy centers within your body that run along your spine. And so we're gonna start with the first one, which is your root chakra. And so your root chakra is at the base of your spine, and it represents grounding, centering, having a strong, firm base, feeling that connection to the earth that is your strong, supportive base, finding stability. And so I want you to think about those sorts of things as we're practicing. Yes, in root chakra sequences, we often tend to spend some time on the hips and the legs. The root chakra is usually associated with like the lower half of the body, and again, the roots of your body, your legs and your hips. And so yes, there's a few hip openings, poses peppered in through the sequence, but more than the anatomy part of the sequence, I want you to think about the sort of metaphysical, sort of woo-woo parts of it, if you will. But just again, finding that center, that grounding, that rooted, that again, that connection to earth, your connection to others, your connection, again, that provides stability. And so we need that in our poses, but we need that in other aspects of our life as well. So I'll link some stuff about the root chakra below because I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but let's get to it. We are going to need some props. So either a block or blankets, pillows will work, that's fine, but you'll need two, like one for each leg when we come to butterfly pose mostly. So something like that. Okay, so like usual, you can start on your back. I'm gonna stay upright. I wanna read something as we're going. So I'm gonna stay upright, but you go ahead and come down onto your back. So make yourself comfortable for this root chakra sequence that we'll be moving through today. Okay, so find your way down into your back on your mat, and typically I just want you to be comfortable, and I still want you to be comfortable, but here I am going to ask that you bend your knees and have your feet flat on the ground. So your feet and knees can be hip distance apart if that's more comfortable for you, but I always like constructive resting pose. So constructive resting pose is keeping the knees bent and the feet flat, but walking the feet away from each other so they're a little bit wider, about mat distance apart, and let the knees knock in toward each other. So the inner parts of the knees rest, and then again, the feet are flat on the ground. I want your feet firmly grounded on your mat. Place your arms wherever it's comfortable. And let your eyes softly close. Take a few moments here, just dropping into your body. So again, with this root chakra, we're focusing on grounding, rooting, finding your center. So settle into your body, see where you're at today, settling in, making that connection. So allow your body to relax and feel heavy. But notice the lightness in the front side of your body. The light, airy, lifted feeling in the front side of the body. Notice the feeling of the breath passing through the front side. Really feel your breath. And you're welcome to continue breathing just as you are. Or maybe you start to gently move into belly breathing, deepening the breath, lengthening the breath, and sending your breath down towards your belly, towards your low belly, maybe even all the way down to the hips, filling your lungs. Allowing yourself to take these deep, full belly breaths, expanding through the front side of the body, but again connected to the earth on the back side. Take about 3 more belly breaths here. And then slowly return back to your natural breath. Breathe in a way that takes no effort. Now continue this balanced sensation of the lightness in the front side of the body and this heavy grounding in the back side. Taking this grounding idea one step further, imagine a beautiful red glowing light at the base of your spine, at the root chakra. This light is soft, gentle, and comforting. With your feet planted firmly on the earth, this light travels from the base of your spine, down your legs, through your feet, and into the earth. This red, glowing, beautiful light plants itself into the earth like roots. Feel these roots connect you to the earth, noticing the safety, comfort, and stability the roots and the earth provide. As you inhale, you draw energy up through your roots, and as you exhale, you send your roots even further into the earth. As you inhale, draw energy up through your roots. As you exhale, send your roots even further into the earth. Inhale, draw energy up through your roots. Exhale, send your roots even further into the earth. Continue this for 3 more breaths. can slowly release that visualization, but know that you are welcome to come back to it any time through the practice. Now, keeping your attention inward and present. If it feels right for you in this moment, maybe you set an intention for your practice. Ask yourself what brought you to your mat, and silently and slowly repeat a positive word or phrase to allow it to settle in your heart. Now again, start to deepen your breath. And this time, as you deepen your breath, create some soft movements throughout and around your body. Let your head rock from side to side. Run your thumbs over the rest of your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Move wrists and ankles, arms and legs. And take a few moments moving in any way that feels good. A full body stretch, hug your knees in, whatever you need. And we're going to stay on our backs for a little bit longer. So again, just a few more moments, taking some time, moving around. But again, still connecting to the earth. So this idea of connecting your feet and really sending your roots through your feet, I really love. I'm getting into plants lately, if you can't tell. So this idea of the roots really connecting into the earth really connects with me. I hope it does with you, but it doesn't have to be with your feet. Anytime your body is touching the floor, you can think about it with your hands, with your torso, with your seat, whatever. So think about really sort of incorporating this, again, this sort of, I know it's a little woo-woo maybe, but this kind of connection, right? Okay. So let's all meet with the knees bent, feet flat. Arms just rest alongside the body or out in opposite direction. We're just going to start with a little bit of a pelvic tilt. So as you inhale, lift your belly, lift your ribs, point your belly button towards your thighs. And as you exhale, draw the lower back down, ribs down, tuck the tailbone, belly button to the face. Inhale as you lift the ribs, lift the low belly. Exhale, draw the torso down, tuck the tailbone. Let's do a few more just like this pelvic tilt. Moving with your breath. And just sort of connecting all of these pieces, all these layers of your yoga practice, right? Because yoga isn't just moving your body, but we are moving the body, but we're also incorporating the breath. We're incorporating this idea of the grounding. We want our practice to have layers, right? That really makes it a yoga practice. Otherwise, it's just working out. Otherwise, it's just stretching. Okay, so let's do a few more like this. Keep checking in on all these layers. Okay, let's do one more of each. And then slowly return to neutral. Okay, and then we'll shift the focus to the hips. So let's walk the feet out almost as if you were going to come to constructive resting pose. So your feet are sort of at the edges of your mat. We'll keep the left leg as it is, but let the right leg drop down and in, rolling to the inside edge of the foot, inner thigh toward the floor, and then slowly return that right leg and switch sides. Left leg drops down and in, inner thigh towards the floor, and then return it. And we'll just keep moving right to left, exactly like this. Slow and steady, thoughtful and controlled. Getting into the hips, getting into the legs. Again, the root chakra. Again, connecting to this idea of grounding. Root chakra poses are generally hips or leg poses. And so feeling this movement here in those spaces, connecting to your breath. We'll stay a little longer. And as you're letting your legs move, notice what's happening in your upper body. Don't forget to check in up there. Relax the shoulders, relax the chest, throat, neck, and jaw. Let's do this about 2 more times on each side. Okay. And then returning back to the center, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, hug your knees into your chest. You can stay here, you can move, you can take happy baby, you can move through the feet and ankles and toes, but take a few breaths, being wherever you like. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat. We won't be seated for very long, but I always suggest sitting on something. It could be a block, it could be a bolster, it could be a blanket, whatever you have. Sometimes I think about buying one of those fancy meditation cushions, but I don't think I need it. Blankets work just fine. Okay, so let your legs relax. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Sit up as tall as you can sit. So another part of this rooting and grounding is rooting down so that you can lengthen, right? If you were to lengthen without an anchor, there wouldn't be much lengthening. I always think about a balloon without an anchor, without a weight. It's not lengthening, it's just moving away. That didn't lengthen anything, right? So we need that anchor, we need that weight at the bottom so that we can grow long and tall. Okay, so allow that lengthening to happen. Relax the shoulders, but let the arms reach forward, fingertips forward, but draw your palms away from each other, thumbs pointing down towards the floor. Now this action makes you want to shrug your shoulder, so relax it. Okay, cross the right arm on top of the left, bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, but don't squeeze them. This is a gentle yoga sequence, remember? So soft. Bend at the elbows, point the knuckles down towards your chest, up towards the sky. Maybe they come forward, maybe not, but then come back how you came through. And we're just gonna do this a few times. So again, grounding through your seat. Let your tailbone, let your pelvis feel heavy and connected to the earth. Reach the crown of the head up, reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears, soften through the throat, neck, and jaw. Soften the hands. Do this one more time, opening up through the wrists. And the next time the arms extend all the way forward, back where we started. Notice the way that you interlaced your fingers. I want you to do the opposite in a moment. So release the hands, cross the left arm on top of the right, interlace the fingers the other way. Interlace, but don't squeeze. Relax the shoulders. Bend at the elbows, knuckles point down, in, up, maybe forward, maybe not. One side's probably gonna be a lot tighter than the other. Again, we sort of like to kid ourselves into thinking that we're symmetrical, but especially your hands and your arms. Think about if you're on a computer, one hand's on the mouse, one hand's on the keyboard, maybe you're always on one hand on your phone, whatever it is. So wrists and forearms and hands are not gonna feel the same, okay? Okay, let's do this about one more time. Keep relaxing the shoulders, feel a comfortable stretch. through the wrists, through the forearms, through the hands. And then the next time the arms extend all the way forward, knuckles forward. You can release the hands and slowly release the shoulders, release the arms. And then we'll move the shoulders. So do some shoulder rolls, make really large circles here. Sometimes I think people just sort of focus on the up and down, but think about coming forward and up and back and down. Think about sort of all four directions, not just up and down. Okay, do one or two more, just like that. And then reverse the direction of the circle. One or two more. All right, let your shoulders relax. We are gonna set up in tabletop on our hands and knees, and we're gonna be here for a little bit, hence the wrist stretching. So I'm gonna pat under my knees. It is entirely optional. And I think you guys know this, but if you don't have a blanket, you can always fold over the long edge of your mat. We are going to be on both knees at the same time though. So you could always kind of put a kink in your mat and fold it over that way. You always got options, even if you don't have stuff around. I know at the studio right now, we are not providing blankets. We're not providing anything that's cloth that can mostly absorb germs, right? So no blankets, but we make it work. There's always a way. Okay. So let's set up in tabletop. Let's focus on our spine a little bit more. So hands under shoulders, spread the fingers wide. As you inhale, drop your belly. Lift your chest, lift your heart, look forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, ribs to the sky, chin to the chest, look towards your belly. We'll do just a few more of these, just like this. So we're just adding on to that pelvic tilt that we already did. So as you're moving through the spine, moving through these slow, steady movements, slow, steady breaths, notice the grounding of your hands, your knees, your shins, the tops of the feet. Feel that grounding, feel that connection. Noticing, especially in cat pose, how that grounding of your hands and your legs allows you to reach the ribs up towards the sky. Again, the grounding helps with the lifting, with the rising. Do one more of each. Okay, and then return to the center. Back to a neutral spine, reaching the crown of the head forward, tailbone back. Now let's open the sides of the spine. So look to the space between your thumbs. Inhale. Exhale as you look over your right shoulder, like you're looking towards your right hip. Draw your right shoulder toward your right hip. Feel length in the left side of the torso. Inhale as you return back to the center, looking to the space between your thumbs. Exhale, look over the left shoulder. Look towards your left hip. Open the right side of the spine. Inhale to the center, lengthen the spine. Exhale, look over the right shoulder, lengthen the left side. Keep moving with your breath. Imagine that as you inhale, you're bringing your spine back to a straight line. And as you exhale, your spine from a bird's eye view looks like the letter C or a backward C. And we want the pelvis in neutral. So you're in neither a cat nor a cow. The ribs are not lifted or lowered. Your belly button is pointing at the floor. We're just moving side to side. We're only moving in one plane. Okay, let's do this one more time, each side. Make sure you come out even. We started with the right, so make sure that the last one you do is you're looking over your left shoulder. And then we will return to the center. We'll do the final spinal movement. We're going to keep the left hand right where it's at. Right arm will reach over to the right with the palm facing down. So you're reaching your right fingertips over to the right. Inhale. Exhale as you reach your right fingers under your left armpit, like you're now reaching over to the left, turning and looking over towards the left. Inhale as you reach your right fingertips over to the right. Exhale as you reach under your left armpit, threading the needle, reaching over to the left. We're going to do this a few more times. As you inhale, maybe you reach your right fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, thread it through, reach over to the left. Let's do 3 more, moving with our breath. Inhale, maybe reach up towards the sky. Exhale, thread it through, reach to the left. 2 more with the breath. Inhale as you stretch. Exhale, thread it through. 1 more, inhale to stretch, lengthen, reach. Exhale, thread. Now we are going to do 1 more, but we're going to hold it. So 1 last time. Inhale, stretch, lengthen, expand, reach, grow tall and long, and exhale, thread it through, hold it there. So really reach your right fingertips over to the left. Let the back of the right hand rest, the right shoulder, maybe even the right temple rests on the ground. Now your left arm and hand has some options. The left hand can be right in front of the face, and it can just stay there. Or you can really push your left hand down like you're rolling your left shoulder back behind you, stacking the left shoulder on top of the right. Maybe with the left hand you take a half bind, bringing your left hand towards your lower back or maybe towards your right thigh. But let's stay for about 3 more breaths. And then if it's not already there, slowly place that left hand in front of your face, in front of your nose. Push the left hand down and inhale, slowly rise up. Maybe reach the right fingertips up towards the sky again. And then return that right hand down. Okay. Same thing, second side, of course. So start with the hands under the shoulders. We'll keep the right hand where it's at. We'll reach the left fingertips over to the left with the palm facing down. So it's extending directly over to the left. Inhale. Exhale, thread the needle, reach under your right armpit, reaching to the right. Inhale as you reach over to the left, palm faces the floor. Exhale as you reach under the armpit, thread the needle, reach to the right. Now we're going to do a few more. This time, maybe as you inhale, you reach to the sky. And then exhale, thread it through. We're going to do 3 more with our breath. Inhale to lengthen, stretch, and reach. Exhale, thread it through, take that twist. 2 more. Inhale, grow tall, expand. Exhale, reach, twist. 1 more with the breath. Inhale as you expand upward and over. Exhale, take that twist. Now this is the last one. We're going to hold it here. So inhale, expand, reach to the sky, reach to the ceiling. Exhale, thread it through, reaching over. So that left arm is reaching over to the right, back of the left hand down, left shoulder down, maybe even the left temple comes down onto the ground. Right hand is sort of in front of the face. It can just stay here, or maybe you push the right hand down, draw the right shoulder back, like you're stacking the right shoulder on top of the left shoulder. Listening to your right shoulder, maybe you take a half bind, maybe you place the back of your right hand towards your lower back, or maybe by your left hip flexor, left hip, left thigh. But connect to the earth and stay here for 3 breaths. If it's not already there, place the right hand in front of your face, right in front of your nose. Push the right hand down into the ground and inhale. Maybe even reach left fingertips up towards the sky 1 last time. And then exhale, bring it down, return to tabletop. Oh, all right, from here, let's take a child's pose. If you've got something under your knees, you can keep it or remove it if it's getting annoying, but let's settle into a child's pose. So child's pose is a root chakra pose. It's a hip opening pose depending on how you take it. But take what feels good for a few moments. Let your forehead rest on something. So your forehead might touch the ground, it might not. So maybe you just stack your hands rest your forehead there, or make two fists, or grab your block, but let your forehead rest. Let now the front side of the body feel heavy and feel grounded. Take a few breaths here. Take one more deep breath here. Now slowly bring the hands under the shoulders. Push the hands into the ground to lift your torso. And let's come back to tabletop, but this time I would remove anything from under your knees. It might get in the way. Okay, we're gonna give our wrists a break in just a moment. So let's set up in tabletop. We're gonna walk the hands one handprint forward towards the top of the mat, farther away from the knees. Hook the toes under. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take just a few breaths here. Again, I want to give our wrists a break in a moment. So take about 2 or 3 breaths here. And then deeply bend your knees. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, travel forward. Take baby steps, moving slow. There's no rush. Coming into forward fold Uttanasana. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. So let the upper body release and feel heavy. Let it relax. Take any alignment, any version that feels best. So maybe the knees are deeply bent. Maybe they're softly bent. I would recommend at least a soft bend in the knees. Maybe you shift your weight forward into the toes or into the heels. Maybe you stay still. Maybe you take a movement here. But we're gonna stay for a few breaths. Now connect the bottoms of your feet to that rooted sensation, that grounded sensation. And let the upper body just surrender to gravity. Take 3 deep breaths here. And then let's all meet in a traditional forward fold. So releasing the arms, coming back to stillness. Soft bend in the knees, weight back in the heels. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Push the feet into the ground. Inhale, rise all the way up. Circle the arms, reach the fingertips up to the sky. Maybe take a back bend, but slowly bring the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath, Tadasana. Okay, we'll move through a few half sun salutations here in a moment, but I want to set ourselves up. So hands can always be at the heart, arms can always be alongside the body, whatever feels best in Tadasana. Okay, but I want you to check in with your feet, let them ground. So your feet hip distance apart, toes forward, and you're of course welcome to look at your alignment, but if you've been practicing yoga for some time, especially if it's with me and you know sort of my cueing and what I'm asking of you, can you just feel it? Can you sense it? Instead of looking, yes, they are parallel, yes, they are forward. Can you feel it in your body? Does it feel like it makes sense in your body? Does it sort of just, I don't know, sort of click, right? Not literally, right? I don't want to hear a sound from you, but does it sort of just feel right? So ground your feet. Something that I don't often cue, but I do think a lot about. It's hard to sort of convey this, but think about grounding not just your feet as a whole, the 4 corners of your feet. Think about sort of by the base of the big toe, by the base of the little toe, and the outside of the heel, the inside of the heel. Can you ground all four corners of each foot evenly? Rooting the bottoms of the feet down to reach the crown of the head up, rooting down to rise up. So root through the feet, lengthen the spine, relax the shoulders, lift the chest, but soften the throat, neck, and jaw. Take a few breaths here, Tadasana, mountain pose, finding this samastiti, this balance between the front and the back, between the right and the left, the top and the bottom, the outside and the inside. Okay. Really ground through the feet. And inhale, circle the arms, reach fingertips up towards the sky, maybe even look up towards the sky. And exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Root down through the heels. Inhale, rise all the way up, maybe even look up. Let's do two more like this. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up, push the feet down, root the feet down to lift the chest, lift the arms, and we're gonna do it again. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reach, expand upwards. And then exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath into Tadasana. Okay. All right, so make sure you're towards the top of your mat facing forward. We're gonna do another root chakra pose. So grounding through the heels, inhale, circle the arms, maybe even look up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at the hips. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back. All the way back, taking a longer stance, and then pivoting the right foot, grounding the right heel firmly onto the mat. The right toes will more or less point over towards the right side of your mat. Deeply bend your left knee. Bring the hands to the top of the left thigh to slowly lift the torso. And then when you're ready, cartwheel the arms, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So here's an example of a pose where we're getting into the root chakra by way of hips and legs, right? This pose is mostly about your hips and your legs. The spine is able to be more or less in neutral, just lengthening, lifting. Arms reach out, shoulders relax. You are turned at the neck to look over your left middle finger, but this is about your legs. And it's not just about your legs in that your quads are working, inner thighs stretching, hips opening. Ground. Ground and root through your feet, pushing your feet into the floor the way that you push your hands into the floor when you come into cat pose or when you come into a plank. I know we don't really do a lot of planks in this gentle sequence, but that idea of rooting, it's an active action. It's not passive. Push the feet down. Legs should be working. And that's gonna help the legs work and strengthen, but really it's to lengthen the spine. Reach the crown of the head up towards the sky as the feet push into the earth. Find that balance. Let's stay for 3 breaths. Okay. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the arms, bring the hands down, come off the back foot. Inhale, exhale, step forward, forward fold Uttanasana. Just take a few breaths here. Let the upper body surrender to gravity. One more breath here. Okay. And then inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step the left foot back, all the way back. Take a long stance. Take a long stance, walk that foot all the way back. Pivot that left foot, ground the left heel into the earth, left toes more or less point over to the left side of your mat. Deeply bend the right knee. Bring the hands to the top of the right thigh to slowly lift the torso. We're in no rush. And then eventually let the arms reach out and settle in. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So we're pushing firmly with the feet into the earth, not necessarily the toes, especially those front toes. They should have a little mobility, but the four corners of the feet, just the same. Both feet should be equally pushing into those four corners of the feet. The base of the big toe, base of the little toe, outside edge of the heel, inside edge of the heel. Can they evenly take the weight of your legs? Can they create a strong, stable foundation for everything to build on? That's why we always start with the root chakra, right? Typically, we always kind of start top down when we list things and just when we write things, right? We start at the base here in the chakra. We start at the base and we work our way up, because if there's not a strong foundation, there's nothing to build on. So allow a strong foundation in the legs, through the feet, in the grounding. Soften the shoulders, soften the arms. 3 deep breaths here. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the arms. Plant the hands, come off the back heel. Inhale. Exhale, step forward. Forward fold Uttanasana. Again, take just a few breaths here in this symmetrical pose, letting the upper body feel heavy and relaxed. 3 deep breaths. And then inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Push the heels down. Inhale, root down to rise up. Reach fingertips up, maybe look up. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath. Tadasana. All right. Balance pose, tree pose. We gotta put our roots in the earth, right? Okay, so find a nice spot, a nice flat spot. Feet hip distance, weight back in the heels. And again, can you feel it instead of needing to look at it? And if you need to look at it, that's fine. It doesn't mean anything about you or your body awareness. It just is a way to kind of check in every once in a while. Can I feel it? Yes or no? And there's no judgment there, okay? That's important. Okay, push the heels down, soften up through the toes. Shift your weight firmly into your right foot. Create a kickstand with the left. Okay, so starting here with this kickstand, check in with the hips. Make sure the hips are level. And pelvis is in neutral. So it's like, again, not like you're in a cat or a cow. Belly button isn't towards the thighs or the face. It's forward. Now often, because hip flexors are tight, the belly button, before you know it, it is pointing at the floor. So we want to make sure it's forward. Hips are level. One isn't hiked up higher on the side than the other. And we're going to open the hip. Draw that left kneecap over to the left, but keep the right one forward. Now maybe you slide that foot up. Maybe not. But find something to look at, something that won't move. Find a drishti. Lock your eyes on that drishti and then really root that right heel down. Push that right heel down to reach the crown of the head up. Imagine you can root that right leg so strong, so firm, so stable. It's as if you're on 2 feet, pushing your feet into the earth, standing up tall, as if someone's gonna measure you and you wanna be as tall as you can. So push that right heel down, reach the crown of the head up. Take 3 deep breaths here, Vrikshasana, tree pose. And then close the hip. Move the left leg so that both kneecaps are pointing forward, and then slowly release the leg down. Take any movement that feels good for you before we come to the second side. Same thing, second side. So find a nice flat spot. That might sound like duh, it's the floor, it's flat. I live in a really old building and the floor is all wonky. I genuinely have to like find the spot. Okay. Feet hip distance, weight in the heels, soften through the toes. Shift the weight into the left, kickstand the right. Pause. Find the stability, find that firm, strong foundation in that left leg. Weight out of the toes, in the 4 corners of the feet. Now, keep the pelvis in neutral, neither cat nor cow, belly button forward, right to left, we're even, waistband of the hands parallel to the floor, but open the right hip, right kneecap points over to the right, left kneecap points forward, maybe you slide that leg up, but as the leg comes up, you continue to root down. So we've got to anchor, we've got to root, we've got to find that strong foundation. So root that left leg down, reach the crown of the head up. Again, as if you're standing firmly on 2 feet. As if the left leg has no idea that the right leg isn't touching the ground. As if your torso has no idea that the legs are doing something asymmetrical. So root that down, lengthen up, soften the shoulders. 3 deep breaths, Vrikshasana, tree pose. Close the hips. Slowly allow that right leg to come forward, kneecaps forward, and then release the leg down. Take any movement that feels good in the left leg or either leg. You can probably tell I'm in an old building. Actually, I'm not thinking about it. You hear the floor squeaking and you can see it. It's, yeah, the floor is not quite level, but that's all right. I make it work. All right, so from wherever you're at, come on back to the top of your mat, facing forward, round through the heels. Take a few breaths, Tadasana, mountain pose. And again, finding that Samastiti. So Tadasana means mountain pose. This is just the pose. Samastiti is what we're striving for within the pose, this balance, front and back, left and right, top and bottom, outside and inside. Let's take 3 breaths here. Inhale, circle the arms, fingertips reach to the sky, maybe even look up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at the hips, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, step the right foot back, and then drop that right knee down to the ground, and bring the left knee down to the ground. We're going to come to tabletop. From tabletop, we're going to come to a seat. So from a seated position, okay, so take a seated position, start with your legs long in front of you. We're gonna keep the left leg as it is, keep that left leg long, pushing through the heel, toes reaching up towards the sky. Bend the right knee, bring the bottom of the foot flat onto the ground. It can stay here, or it can come to the outside edge of the thigh. But wherever this right foot is, 4 corners of the foot grounded into the earth. So that includes the base of the big toe, which is a little tougher when you bring it over here, but it's got to come down. Okay. Left hand is going to come down like it's, your right hand is going to come down like it's reaching almost for the back right corner of your mat. And we want to use this right arm as leverage, push down into the ground. Now, it's your right hand. It might be your palm. It might just be your fingertips, but you are using this to root down to reach the crown of the head up and reach left fingertips to the sky. Inhale as you reach up, 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 up. Exhale as you take that twist, twisting over to the right. Left arm can take the hook with the tricep to the quad. I can't think of what I normally call this. Or you can hook your left arm around your right thigh, hug it, and you'll feel a deeper stretch in the right glute. But again, root down to rise up. So anatomically, your spine will not take a good deep twist if you're slouching. But we just want to get into this energetic sort of, again, the metaphysical parts of this practice is that rooted sensation. Can you root? Imagine placing your roots into the earth, finding a strong, stable base. Getting tongue-tied. A strong, stable base to reach up, to lift up, maybe even turn at your neck, look over your right shoulder, maybe even stretch through your eyes and look out of the right corners of your eyes as much as you can. Stay for 3 breaths. And then blink the eyes back to neutral. Return the head and the neck, the shoulders and the arms, the rest of the spine. And then the leg. You can bop the legs around, give them a little bit of movement. Okay, same thing, second side. So keep the right leg long, bend the left knee, bottom of the foot flat onto the ground. This is where it's easy to place all 4 corners of the feet on the ground, right? It's a little more challenging if you bring it over, but we want the base of that big toe down. Right leg is long, foot is flexed. Left hand comes down. Now, it might not be your palm. I actually tend to prefer fingertips. So it's not a much, it's a little bit harder to feel that grounded sensation when it's just your fingertips. But I want you to still put forth the effort. So push your left fingertips down into the ground to reach up. Draw the seat down, left hand down, reach the crown of the head up, right fingertips up. Inhale, exhale, turn to the left, take a twist. Right arm can take whatever position it likes. But again, root your seat down. Even as you're flexing the right foot, think about the back of the right heel, almost by like the Achilles. Not the bottom of the foot, right? But sort of the back of the foot. Root that down. Can you root the calf down, the back of the thigh, the seat, the left hand down to reach the crown up? Maybe even look over your left shoulder. Maybe even look out of the left corners of your eyes. Let's stay for 3 breaths. And then blink the eyes back to neutral. Return the head, neck, shoulders, arms, and spine. And then the leg, and again, take some movement. All right. Our next pose that we'll set up for will require some props. Here's where we're gonna sort of settle in and get comfy into butterfly pose. So if you have a setup that you like for Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, that is different from what I am describing, go for it. But really what I'm gonna do, it's not a very complicated setup, but again, if you've got bolsters, like that sort of thing, if you wanna get real lush with it. When I do my own practice, I have every prop. I pull all the blankets and pillows from all over my apartment. So if you're doing that at home, more power to you, I get it. But I'm shedding. Okay, Baddha Konasana. I'm just gonna support my head with the blanket, and I'm just gonna have the 2 blocks for the legs. It's not too complicated of a setup, but whatever setup you've got, come on into it. So coming down onto your back, start with your knees bent, feet flat. Kind of check in with your back. I like to hug my knees into my chest to kind of lengthen the lower back first. Kind of just really get it all situated. And then allow the knees to drop away from each other. So the pinky toe sides of the feet are on the ground. Bottoms of the feet come together. And you can draw your feet in towards your hips. You can draw your feet away from your hips. Whatever feels best. And if you're using blocks, remember that blocks have several different heights and sizes and shapes to them, depending on the angle you use. So take what feels best. Also, especially if you're using blocks, I often tend to position it like this. Just, it depends on the surface that you're on. But instead of having it flat on the floor and at an angle on your leg, maybe you put it at an angle on the floor and flat on your leg. But again, it depends on the surface because your block might just slide. So, but it feels nice to have it just flat on your leg as opposed to the edge. But, so play around with it. Choose what feels good. Choose what feels best. I want you to be comfortable. Okay. So settle in. Find a comfortable position. We're going to be here for just a little bit. But the purpose of this pose here is to allow your body to relax, using the props, using these items so that your body does not have to do the work. This is a root chakra pose, but it's not one where you are actively rooting. It's not like tree pose where I'm going to ask you to push into the floor and work hard. This is a passive pose. We're getting into the root chakra, the base of the spine, by opening the hips, focusing on the legs, but again, very softly. Minimal effort, minimal work. Let your body relax. Maybe even come back to belly breathing. Let's stay for 3 more breaths. Okay, now start to deepen your breath. Take really big breaths. And then add some movement around the body. Let the head rock. Wiggle fingers and toes. Roll the wrists, move the arms. And then bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs, even if it's just your fingertips, even if it's a little hard to reach. But bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs and use the strength of your arms to draw your legs together like you're closing a book, Placing the feet flat on the ground, maybe letting the knees knock in. But take a few breaths. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, hug your knees into your chest. You could stay in Apanasana. You can take Happy Baby. In either pose, you can stay still or you can move, but be where it feels good for a few breaths. My squeaky floor. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but truly, my floor is really squeaky. I'm sorry, it's making me laugh. You settle into Shavasana. I've got kind of like the church giggles, I think. You settle into Shavasana. I will get my church giggles under control. And you set yourself up. Be where it's comfortable. So if that resonated with you at the beginning of the practice, that knees bent, feet flat, rooting the bottom of the feet into the earth, maybe come back to that. Maybe come back to that idea and that position, and as you breathe, you tap into that again. But of course, it does not need to be the bottoms of your feet that are connecting to the earth, that are providing that rooting or grounding for you. Any part of your body that is touching the ground can provide that. So as you're settling in, I'm going to read a few affirmations that connect with the root chakra. And maybe one of these resonate with you and you come back to it in your Shavasana or throughout your day or in another practice. Or maybe not, and that's okay. I am grounded. My spirit is grounded deep in the earth. I am calm, strong, centered, and peaceful. I am able to let go of fear and trust that I am eternally safe. I am worthy of all things beautiful. I am grounded. My spirit is grounded deep in the earth. I am calm, strong, centered, and peaceful. I am able to let go of fear and trust that I am eternally safe. I am worthy of all things beautiful. I am grounded. And as you deepen your breath, create soft, gentle movements throughout your body. Let your head rock from side to side. Run your thumbs over the rest of your fingers as you wiggle your toes. Roll wrists and ankles. Move arms and legs. You can reach your arms overhead, stretching as if you just woke up from a long nap. Fingertips and toes in opposite directions. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, hug your knees into your chest. And slowly roll over onto either side in a tucked feel position, resting your ear on your arm. Now pause for a moment here to notice what you're feeling, how you're feeling. Know that you can come back to this feeling at any moment because you are the one who created it. Keeping your eyes closed and using the strength of both arms, push down into the ground, come up to a comfortable seat. Take a moment here to thank yourself for making it to your mat today. Maybe reflect on your intention. Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. Now slowly join your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. To seal our practice, we'll chant the sound of Om one time. Let's start with a deep and clearing breath. Inhale for Om. The light or the good in me acknowledges, respects, and bows to the light or the good in you. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me and for participating and trying this and listening to me say root down a million times. What felt like it for me, at least. So yeah, root chakra. So of course we are going to make our way up the chakras. We're going to focus on these chakras for just the gentle for right now. We'll see where it takes us, but you can expect that each month a new one will be coming out. There are 7 chakras, so you know what we're doing the next 6 months, unless I get distracted or find something that piques my interest or your interest a little bit more, but we'll see it through. And for the record, if I were to take a detour, I would come right back. I'm not saying I would just ditch the series, of course not. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. It means so much that people want to practice with me, even if it's from a distance, especially if it's from a distance, because it's much harder to do this. So thank you so much for sticking it through and seeing it through. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.